Hello.
Hello, Emma.
I found you.
Yeah.
I had typed in the because you hadn't added me to your contacts.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and I used the email address that you've been contacting me with on email.
Okay.
And so I was waving. I was like, "Hello, anybody there?" So I was like, "Okay, maybe he has a different email address." So I went to go look at your billing information, and there was a different email address. Okay, good. I'm
Oh, good. I'm
finally
glad you found me.
I'm glad I found you. I was like, oh no, where is he? Okay, honey. Well, that's okay. We found each other. I was
Absolutely.
getting a little worried there. It's Dustin, right?
Yes.
I'm just gonna cheat here on the Skype. Generette.
Yes.
That's an interesting name. Okay, I got it right?
Yep.
All right. Well, that's my little notepad. If you want to get a copy of this, this is where I do all my scribbles and stuff. Some people like to have copies. If you want a copy, let me know, and I'll put it in the scanner and email it to you.
Okay, great. Yes.
Okay. Well, really quickly, because we already left a little bit of time, unfortunately. I got to make sure I quit at least 10 after 7,
Sure.
because I have to be right after you. Really quickly, I know this is our first meeting, and I know this is the first time we're having a reading together. So I just want to explain to you how I work, because I know a lot of people know me from the videos, and they get the wrong idea on how I do private readings, because what you see on a video is a trance channeling, which takes me about 2 to 3 weeks to communicate with that spirit in order for them to allow them into my whole system and to talk through me.
Sure.
When I do private readings, I can't do that because I have too many a day, and usually not just one person comes in. There's usually multiple people that come through.
Oh, sure.
So the way that I work is a little bit different. So I'm an intuitive medium. I don't see spirits with my eyes, and I don't hear them talking to me in my ear. Everything for me starts with emotional responses, big feelings, that then slowly but surely start to turn into visualizations in my mind, kind of like daydreaming. Your eyes are open, but you're seeing stuff move.
Yes. Okay.
And then if I'm lucky, and spirits are usually, sometimes they're good at communicating, sometimes they're not good at it. It really depends on them. But if they're really good at it, they will throw in some thoughts as well. And then it's just like me talking to myself at a very high speed, kind of like too fast for me to even come up with this shit.
Okay.
So, okay. But again, it depends on how they choose to communicate with me. Sometimes they only choose to use visualizations, which makes it a little tougher, but then I will try and explain what I see. And usually people are like, I know what they're talking about. I know what they're trying to say. So it depends on them. I also don't control who comes in. If somebody doesn't step forward that you wanted to step forward, that doesn't mean they're not here. Okay? Maybe they're having a hard time communicating with me. Maybe they are letting other people who they believe have better things to say at this moment to help you. It really depends. They will always allow the people that can help you the most to step forward. But if you really want to talk to somebody and they haven't stepped forward, don't be afraid to give me their name, and I can see if via my team I can find some way to communicate to them.
Oh, very
Okay.
neat. Okay.
And if you have specific questions, don't be afraid to get them in there if they haven't answered them yet. Usually at the end of a session, I don't have a lot of people who say they forgot this question or they forgot that question. They usually already answer it before you have to say it. But if there are questions that they haven't addressed yet for whatever reason, don't be afraid to get them in there. If they go too fast and you don't understand, call a timeout. Don't be afraid to interrupt, okay?
Okay.
And that's about it. The only thing I request is I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger.
Not a problem. I appreciate your time on it.
You know, they can be very direct. They can be very much in your face if they need to be, but they can also be very sweet. I trust them that they know how to handle you.
That's perfect.
But I always say, don't shoot the messenger. Also, when it comes to future predictions, keep in mind that you're the one in control of creating them, so you can also change them. Should you not should you not agree with what they're saying, don't be afraid to say, fuck that shit, I ain't going to do it. Because sometimes they will say things that are not really accurate, but they will say it because they know you're going to respond a certain way. Okay. And that's the response they're looking for. A long time ago, they told me, you shouldn't be doing this. You're never going to be good enough. And I did it anyway a year later. And I was really good at it. And I said, why did you tell me I couldn't do it? Because I'm the kind of person, whoever tells me you can't do something, I'm going to prove them wrong, whether it is my teacher or whether it is God. I'm going to prove you wrong. And they knew that, so that's why they said what they said, so to get me to push myself even more. So anyway. That's impressive. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I usually just start by making little drawings on my little pad here. And I'm just going to request your team to come in. Now, I only limit it to your team because I don't want to invite everybody in. If people want to talk to celebrities, they need to let me know beforehand so I can invite them in. Sure. Okay. It's just a little bit of protection. You don't want the whole world knocking on my door because then they confuse me. I used to never do that, and all of a sudden I had people here, and I was like, do you know this person? They were like, no. I'm like, okay, who are you here? Turned out
filter through.
Yeah, it turned out it was for 2 readings after that person. I was like, okay, you're too early. So now I'm very strict with who I let in, okay? And I'll always start with your spiritual team because I think it's important for everybody to know who they are so you can communicate to them, because they're your family. They protect you, they guide you, they're always with you 24/7, 7 days a week. I think it's important to have a relationship with them, okay? Oh, wow. There's a very noisy lady here. She's very like, come on now, get crack-lacking, you're talking too much. Okay. I will try my best. I will try my best. God, she's spunky. I will tell them that she's here. Okay, I will tell. Okay, your grandmother is here. Okay. She says her name is Edith or Edie.
Yes.
Or something.
Yep, that's for my father's side. Yes. She's
very pushy. She's kind of like out of the way, people. She's laughing. She's laughing. She says, I love you so much. And you know that. You know that. And she says, you know what's really funny? You know what I found out? She says, when I came home, she says, I found out that your grandfather is your guide.
Oh, wow.
You've never met him. She says, you never met him. He died before you were born, she says, way, way before you were born. But she says, now I know why, because he had to guide you. He is one of your main guides. And she says, you've had so many lifetimes with him. I was shocked. I was shocked. She says, you've had more lifetimes with him than with me, and I don't think that's possible. But, hey, he loves you.
I've never known. That's super special. I've always kind of wanted.
Yeah. So she says, Grandpa Rene is your guide, and he wants to come forward and talk to you because he wants to help you with trying to find some kind of organization in life, he says. He says, when you look at your journey, you and your beautiful family, he says, you haven't had it easy. You know, you have been confronted with a lot of illness. You have been confronted with financial concerns. You have been confronted with you going a little bit all over the place when it comes to what am I supposed to do here exactly? Because you're like, I like this and I like that and I like this and I like that. So how do I combine all of that into one thing? Because right now I am divided over different things that I like. And I would love to make an income, a proper income off of that, doing what I love, but at the same time being able to provide for my family. And she says that your team's going to talk to you about that. But she says, honey, I just wanted to step forward and tell you and tell mom and tell dad and tell everybody that I love them very, very much. And we're watching over you. We're watching over you. We love you. And I just can't say it enough. She says, I love you. I love you. You know that. I love you. I love you. I love you. And she says, yes, we got bowling up here. And yes, I'm kicking ass.
That's great.
I'm kicking your your grandpa's ass, she says. And I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
She's making me feel like she loves playing games. She
yeah.
loves the competition. She loves the competition, but she also loved nature. And she's just kind of like, you know, she loves her family. And she really tried to do her best to keep everything afloat. But it was also tough, is what she's making me feel. It was tough because she lost her husband at a pretty early age, she says. And so she's making me feel like, you know, you guys can get through anything. Because she's saying that your relationship with your girl, she's just calling her your girl. I don't know if you're married, but she's saying the relationship with your beautiful girl is strong enough to handle anything that comes your way, she says, okay? And she says, when your little girl comes in, okay, I'm going to be the one making sure she's got enough fire up her butt to get you all going. So get ready.
We're expecting in January a little daughter.
Okay, well, she's saying get ready because she's going to be spicy.
Okay.
She's going to be spicy. She's going to be super funny. And she's going to use humor to get herself through the hard times in life. So make sure that you, because she gets that from you, you're the funny one. Make sure, she says, you know, mom's the over-concerned, overprotected one, the perfectionist. You're kind of like a little kid in a big body. That's who you are, she says. But I want you to hold on to that. You need to hold on. Don't get too serious in this lifetime because you're never going to get through it if you take everything too hard and too serious. You need to have playtime in life. And I want you to continue to try and do that for you and your family. But know that she will do that with you. You guys will be like, you will be like that. Okay? So you're going to have a little daddy's girl, and your wife already has a little mama's boy. So it's going to be equally divided, and you guys are going to be great.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Oh, and she just to let the ease off, she's going to be perfect. Okay, so don't worry about illness and all of that, okay? You've had that. That's, you know, it's not going to be like that this time, okay?
Thank you so much.
She says, I know that's a worry. That's a worry inside of you. What if? But she's saying, just know it's going to be all okay. I promise, she says. And I'm going to be there with you, okay?
Grandma.
Okay, now that we have her pushy energy out of the way, and we continue. You're messing up my vibe, Edith. You're messing up my vibes. Okay. Because I always start with your team first. But she's like, well, I said who was her team. Okay, so what they're showing me is that you have 3 angels and you have 2 guides. So it's a pretty big team that you have. I only have 3, you got 5. You're like, I'm making sure I can make it through this. That's what it sounds like. Although you're not like my husband. He's got 18. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. He was probably like, if I have to marry that crazy lady, I'm going to need a whole lot of angels and guys to get me through that one. He got himself a whole basketball team or something. I don't know.
Oh, Gerald.
I stopped remembering their names because there's just too many. So it's like number 1 and number 3, please. Okay. Okay, let's see here. So male energy, female, male, female, and then you have your grandfather. Okay. Can I get some names, please? Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm just tapping into your angels. Oh, I forgot to tell you, you can record this if you want to, just so you know.
Thank you. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, go ahead. People will really listen to it, and they'll sometimes they hear voices on the recordings. I've had many of those where people are like, "I heard my grandma." So we usually don't hear it right away, but you will hear it when you replay it.
Gotta love the EPs.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they? Even I'm like, oh, I love that, because then I'm like, I'm not crazy, yay! Sometimes I wonder, you're just crazy. Okay. They're showing me letters, so I'm trying to keep up here. Hold on, not too fast, please. It's a long name. Okay. Okay. This is what I got. I got a whole bunch. Okay, I'll send it to you. But that's what I got so far. Okay, so you basically have 3 angels, 2 male energies, 1 female energy. Angels don't have a gender, okay? But energy is either a positive or a negative. We call that male or female, okay? You know us people, we like to label it. Anyway, the angels' names that are stepping forward. So apparently you have Archangel Michael, which is a really good angel to have. And he says the reason he's with you, or the reason you have chosen him to be with you, is to bring clarity and understanding in what is going on in your daily life. So basically he brings insight into the matrix that you create for yourself, because you are a person, you're a very sensitive person. And you can get overwhelmed by emotional energy, but you like to keep it in. You don't like to show it to people. It's almost like you're a little bit of an introvert. And so you process everything very internally, he says. And so when people are very internally, when they're introverts, they really have a hard time letting go of energy. Okay, and you're a person who holds on to energy. You hold on to friendships with dear life. You hold on to family for dear life, but you also hold on to the negative things for dear life. And so what happens is it collects and it collects and it collects. And then you have physical expressions, aches, pains, overweight, a little bit of everything that'll happen to you because you're unable to let that go, he says. And he's actually making me cough right now. So he's actually saying you do have a lot of problems when it comes to voice or coughing or throat pains or something that's in this area, he says. And that's because you don't always speak up. You're always trying to keep the darn peace, he says. And so what you do is you swallow in the words that you really want to express. You don't always tell truth, not because you're a fake person, but because you're worried that by expressing truly what you believe, it might cause friction, it might cause relationship problems and friendships or family or whatever, and you just don't want to deal with that because you already have enough on your head trying to keep everything afloat. And so what he does is when you're doing internally processing, he tries to help you with insight and understanding of why things are happening so you can give it a place, so you can give it a purpose. Why is this happening? It is happening for this reason, so I can learn from this and I can grow from that. He's trying to do that for you, but he says, you're a very stubborn person. And so whenever we're trying to get you this insights, you completely mess it up by overanalyzing everything with the mind. So we are dealing here, he says, with an individual who is overanalytical, washes away everything that he feels because he doesn't want to give in to those feelings, and then holds on to everything like a hoarder. And he says, I'm not being mean and I'm not trying to hurt you in any way or form. I want you to understand what you're doing energetically so you can work on releasing that, okay? Stop living in the future so much. You're so worried about where you're going, what you're doing, how you're going to do things, that you're missing out on what's going on inside right now. And although you have, he says, you're such a creative mind. Your mind is truly creative. You like to fantasize. You like fantasy stuff. You like music. You like building things. You're a very creative person that's being overshadowed and cloaked in this, look at me, I'm just a normal bloke. You need to let your vibe out. You need to let your creativity out, because that's your way of releasing energy.
I see. That
okay?
makes total sense.
Saying you got to play those drums, but when you do, imagine that all that negative energy is being beaten out of you, okay? You got to use creative expression however you want to do it, he says, but use creative expression at least once a week to release the negative energies that don't serve you anymore.
Okay.
Okay? So try and focus on that, he says, and try and focus on living in the moment, living in the now a little bit more, and letting go of old stuff. Okay? It's in the past. Let it go. It will no longer serve you. Holding on to it only creates your body to be heavier.
Okay, that makes sense.
When you can work, he says, on releasing all that energy, your body will reshape itself. And you won't have to do anything about it. It will automatically feel better, feel healthier, because you're going to be releasing a lot of stress, a lot of worry, and a lot of fear. So work on releasing those stress, fear, and worry. Know and believe me when I say you guys are going to be okay always.
Okay.
You're not going to be millionaires. Scratch that out of your to-do list. You didn't plan that. You can if you want to, but that's not part of your plan. You didn't design it to be that way, but you did design it to be comfortable and to be happy as a family, and as, being a good person, because you are a great being with an amazing heart that would do anything for another person, but you're not giving enough to yourself.
Okay.
So work on releasing a lot of things, and work on getting yourself healthy energetically, and then the rest, energetically and mentally, and then the rest will follow in its place. Okay?
Thank you so much.
He says you're welcome, and just know that you're loved. You're very, very much loved, okay?
Absolutely, thank you.
On Earth and here. So, hey, you're a lucky guy, says. You also have an angel. He's just kind of fading away. Gabriella.
Oh, wow, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so what she's saying is she's very visual. She's showing me the pictures for relationships and emotional growth, which is usually your spiritual awakening. So she helps you with any kind of relationships, and she's saying you're such a good dad. You need to stop beating yourself up. It's almost like you always feel you're not good enough. Okay? She's saying you need to scratch that. That's just baloney. Okay? She's saying that you love your son more than anything in the world, and you have done so much for him. And that's the best thing a dad can do, is to be there for them, to love them unconditionally, and to support them in who and what they choose to become. And that's what you need to continue to do. Don't try to control or shape him in any way, which you don't. That's usually your wife's thing. She tries to guide and control everything. It's going in some direction. We want to avoid any kind of problems possible. That needs to stop too, because by focusing on what might happen, you're actually creating it. You just need to all learn to flow more naturally. And you will see that your son will really do great in his future. Okay? It's making me feel like he's been through a lot as a young boy, but it was part of the journey that he chose, and it only made him stronger, if that makes sense.
It does, absolutely does.
Okay? He will be okay. He will be okay because he's got amazing parents who love him. It's just super important, super important that neither you or your wife try to define or control who he becomes. He is a very spiritual boy who is super connected to sources outside of himself, and he has the ability to actually transfer his conscious mind into other dimensions. So you might have noticed that he's a big daydreamer. Okay?
Yes.
And what he does then, he actually leaves his physical body temporarily and places his consciousness in different dimensions. So he's actually what we would call a time traveler, if you want to look at it from that direction.
Sure,
he can place his mind in different places. He's not aware that he's doing that because it's a very natural thing for him to do. He thinks he's just daydreaming, but he has the ability to place his consciousness in other frequencies. And when he grows up, when he gets older, he's going to be able to, if he is supported in that, he's going to be able to actually have a very clear communication with all kinds of beings in different dimensions. So that is something that's very special. But no matter what he chooses to do, don't be afraid to support it, because it's always going to be in some way or form in service of others. That's why he's here. And he's here to teach you, chillax, go with the flow. It's going to be okay. He's here to show you how to be fearless in a way. So don't introduce your fear inside of him. It's very important. So try to let go of the fear, both of you, if not just for you, but for him as well. Okay, it's important, she says. Other than that, when it comes to your physical health, there are some arteries that are not doing so well inside your body. So what I do recommend, she says, is that you take ginger lemon tea with honey on a daily basis.
Okay.
Okay, 1 to 2 cups a day. Make sure you make it fresh. None of that pre-made stuff. Make it fresh. Fresh ginger, fresh honey, and fresh lemon, okay? 1 or 2 cups a day. The whole family can drink it. What it'll do is it'll actually clear up the whole system of the body, and it eliminates all infections. All infections, anything that's causing disruption will be eliminated. So that's a little bit for you just to work on. You want your blood flow to really go smoothly, and there are parts in your body that unfortunately are a little clogged up here and there. We don't want that to cause any kind of problems for you. You've been through enough. So and it's not meant to be, but you know, unfortunately your way of all of that beer, young man, isn't doing well for you, she says. Okay, just keep that in mind, she says. But other than that, when it comes to your relationship, continue to have an open communication. You do need to learn to open up a little bit more about what you really feel, because she gets frustrated because she doesn't always get you.
Sure, that makes total sense.
She's like, come on, talk to me, explain it to me. And you're kind of like, well, I don't know. So she says, try and work on communicating and expressing what you feel.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I know you're not used to that, she says, but try and do so if you can, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. So you have another angel named Jonathan. Jonathan helps you with work.
Okay.
Anything that's career, anything like that, he says. Oh, he says that your energy is always spread thin. You're doing too much at the same time, trying to make ends meet. He says, don't give up on your dreams.
Okay.
He's making me feel like you have a dream. It's something you really want to do for a living, but it's almost like it seems impossible to make any kind of living off of it. Yeah. He's saying, if you let go of the fears, if you let go of the limitations that you've placed upon yourself, you will be able to find a way to turn that into cash.
Okay.
Okay? As for the jobs, make sure you don't run yourself thin, because then you're tired, you're exhausted, and you won't have enough energy left to focus on what you really want to do in the future. Okay? I know you need to make money, he says, but try and find a way that's more productive. Does that make sense at all?
It
okay,
does.
good.
Absolutely does.
It's almost like he's pulling me in different directions. So I don't know how many jobs you got, but it's like this and that and that and this, and then you're helping these people and you're helping those people, and it's like that alone takes away all of your energy. And then when you get home, you're just tired. You want to play video games or something. I don't know, but you know, that's kind of what it feels like. You just want to sit back, relax, and you know, too much work. And at the end of the ride, he says, it's not making you the money that you really want to see coming in. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of work, and you do okay, but it's not bringing in the cash flow that you would like to see. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. So he says, don't give up on your dreams, and your dream is in the creative side of you. It's inside of you, okay? And try and find, it's almost like he's saying, try and find a job that's better soothing for you. Not that you have to quit right away, but look out. See if there's anything else that you can make better money in a more controlled schedule, because it's like your schedule's all over the place right now. Okay?
Thank you.
He says, if you listen to your heart, you will find it. We will tell you how to do it. The problem is you don't listen. Okay, so you have your grandfather, Renee. He's very different than his wife. His energy feels a lot more controlled, directed, and focused. That's what it feels like. Almost like a military man, kind of, you know.
It was indeed.
It was very, very directed, very focused. He's saying, I love you, son. He's saying, I love you, son. And you're like a son to me, he says. I saw you be born, and haven't been separated from you since. So he's seeing you more as a son.
It's amazing.
Although it's kind of funny. He's showing me he had multiple kids. But it's almost like, that's okay. A fourth one will be okay, too. Okay, so he says what he's trying to help you with is, one, for you to find comfort in where you are, to find some kind of balance. Because he says life has been very hectic for years now. And you really have a hard time grounding yourself in this lifetime and to find a sense of peace. It's always hustle bustle. It's always trying to figure out stuff. It's always solving problems, but you've never really got to experience being a dad and being a husband in kind of a flow. Yeah, things are fine. You know, it's almost like he's trying to help you to find your flow without losing your productivity, without losing the sensation that you're slacking. You know, he's just see what I'm trying to say. He's trying to help flow better and have better results financially and relationship-wise and family-wise, to be able to find a balance in that. He says, I'm trying really hard. I'm trying really hard. But he says, you're not the most organized person. Okay? And that's okay, he says, but if you would be a little bit more organized in your thinking, he says, you would be able to be more productive. Because this is the thing, he says, when you do something, any kind of job, while you're doing that, you are thinking of all the other stuff you still have to do.
Yeah.
And what that does is it drains you, because thought processing is extremely draining, but it also makes you slower in what you're doing because you're constantly distracted by your thoughts.
I see.
So what's important to train, it really takes some practice. It takes some self-discipline, he says. But what's important is that when you're doing something, only think of what you're doing. Focus only on what you're doing. You will see that you can do the same job perfectly in half the amount of time that you normally take to do it. So you will actually be able to get better work done in a short amount of time, better quality, so you're more productive and you'll have more time left over to do fun things.
That makes sense.
Okay? So it's about organizing. It's not about controlling. It's not about controlling. It's about organizing your thoughts. And what does that mean? That means be aware of where you're putting your focus, and when you're doing something, only focus on that until you're done, and then you can focus on something else.
Okay.
Okay? You're going to have more energy at the end of the day. You're going to feel better. Your body's going to feel better. You're going to have more space in here for creative thinking and problem solving, and you will actually receive our messages for a change.
Oh,
that
great.
would be great. That would be great, he says. Other than that, he says, I love you so, so, so very much. And know that you are protected and you are loved, and that nothing will come to you that you didn't request yourself. So in a way, you need to take a little bit more responsibility, he says, because now you're moving the responsibility to your wife. Well, you said we should do this, and you said we should take a little bit more responsibility, okay? He says. Other than that, you're a great young man, he says. You're a great father. You're a great spouse. So give yourself a little bit more love and a little bit more credit, because you undervalue yourself. And you're very important in this family, and you're very important in the world. What you send out daily, your positivity, your jokiness, although that's what you hide behind. We all know it. Okay, you hide behind your smiles. But all of that, he says, is bringing joy into the vibration of the collective, and that is why you and your presence is super important in the world. So stay positive. Stay compassionate. Your heart is in the right place, but don't let people take advantage of you.
Thank you so much.
Sometimes you have to say no. Okay? Don't be afraid to say no, he says, okay? Now, you also have a female energy here, and then there's another male energy. The male energy is called Lloyd.
Oh, yeah.
Lloyd?
Yep. That would be my...
That's your mom's dad, I think.
Yes, it is.
And then you also have a female guide. Lloyd is not your guide. He is just here. He's saying hello. He's going to talk to you in a minute. You have another female energy. The name that was given to me was Matilda. Matilda. Okay, so Matilda was your wife in another lifetime. She loves you very, very much. She says, don't tell your wife. She's laughing. She's giggling. She's like that's going to matter. Your wife's going, oh, that lady's just crazy. She's making fun of it. She's really funny. She's really gentle. She feels very warm, very loving towards you. The picture she's given me, I mean, looking at her clothes, I would probably say Europe. I'm just asking them if they can give me a kind of a timeline, because it looks a little bit medieval times, is what it looks like. But it feels to me like it's almost like the transitioning, like the 1700s, somewhere around there is what I'm getting. And this feels like Scotland.
Wow, yeah.
Okay. Sure. She's saying you guys had a really good life together in that lifetime. But she says she lost you. She lost you at an early age because you went to battle and you never came back. Okay? So she grieved for you basically the rest of her life. She never got remarried. She talked to you in her mind, so she knew you were with her in spirit. But she always felt bad because she couldn't find you. She never found your body. And so that really made her very sad, and it made her kind of like she never got the closure she wanted, and she never got to protect you and take care of your body and bring you to God. So to her, that was a big deal. When the body wasn't found, she says back in those days, we believed that the body couldn't go to heaven because it wasn't prepared. So for me, that was very, very hard to deal with, she says. But in this lifetime, before we met each other up again, when I came home, and she says, you asked me to be your guide in this one because you knew emotionally it was going to be rough for you to get through the hard bits, but also I wanted to be there to enjoy the good bits, as if I'm a little bit a part of this family as well, the family we never got to have together. So I hope that that's okay with you, knowing that.
Yeah.
Basically, what you asked me to do was just to love you unconditionally. And so whenever you're having a bad moment, whenever you're not feeling good, whenever there's an argument, I'll be the one who sits by you and tries to elevate your energy so you can get through this, so you can push through and keep going. So that's what I do. I give you love, and I manipulate your energy in a good way. I just want you to know that I'm there and I'm with you. And we are very close to what people would call a soulmate. But you have many soulmates, so I'm just one of. She says, and that's okay over here. That's very normal. But we're very close vibrationally, and so when you have a dream, usually it's me who comes to visit you, but I do come in different forms and shapes. However you want to see me, that's how I come. Okay, so. If you want, she says, we can try and have a dream conversation tonight, and I can show you what I looked like in that lifetime, if that's okay with you. That way we're reintroduced, and you can talk to me whenever you need some loving, some caring. Whenever you need to feel better, I'll be there for you to help you and raise your vibration, okay?
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. So Lloyd. Lloyd. He is over here. I can feel him. This is your mom's dad, he says. He's showing me female connection. That's your mom's dad. And he says Mrs. Barnhart is here as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
His energy feels kind of similar like Renee. It's kind of very directed, very much in kind of survival mode. Let's try and survive this thing. He says that's how he was as a person. That's not who he is now, but that's how he was as a human person.
Okay.
Trying to survive life, kind of hardworking. Not really good with expressing his feelings either, he says. And grandma keeping the boat afloat in a way. But he wants your mom to know that it's almost like he wants her to know that he's here and he's here for her. He's letting me know that he feels regretful towards certain things. It's almost like they didn't have the closest connection in a way. It's almost like he wants to let her know that he's with her every day, that it's okay to talk to him. He's saying, Lima, what are you saying? Lima Senior High School?
Yeah, yep. Lima Senior High School.
He's saying he's trying to give her something to believe this. Because he's saying that she has a hard time having faith, if that makes sense. He's saying give her this other one. When she and Renee were engaged, She was working at First Bank something. I don't know.
Okay.
You'll have to ask.
Bank One, yeah.
Bank something?
Bank One.
I'm just seeing a bank with a 1 on it, so that's all I'm seeing. Okay, that's what I'm seeing in my head. So he's giving her some validation, okay? He wants her to know that he loves her very much, and he didn't say it enough. He doesn't feel like he said it enough, or he didn't show it enough. So he wants to make sure that she knows that despite what goes on in a human lifetime, we love and adore each other dearly, despite how we like to push each other's buttons. Okay, and he makes me feel like your mom can be very stubborn. That's where you get it from. And she got it from him.
The mystery is solved.
So he says, two stubborn people that sometimes can collide, but he's making me feel so loving about her. So she needs to have more fun, though, is what he's saying. She needs to have a little bit more fun. She has always tried to control everything as well, and she just needs to learn to relax and flow with the current of her own heartbeat. That's what she's got to do. Okay.
Absolutely.
He's saying, for you, my boy, he's saying, I want you to know that Ethan is always being cared for, that he's being guided, and unfortunately I have to say he's a little bit smarter than you. I'm just saying it. I'm just saying it. He's a little bit smarter than both of you. So don't think you know everything better. Okay? To you and to your wife. Don't think you know everything better. Listen to what he has to say. Try and see it from his perspective and support him in what he does. Even if you're like, well, I don't know if that's a great idea. If he feels that he can handle what he wants to do, then give him a chance to show that to you. Have faith that he knows, he hears and sees a lot clearer where he's supposed to go than you do.
Okay.
Learn from him, he says. Learn from him and support him and care for him, because he's going to love you and adore you forever. And he looks very much up to you. He is a mama's boy, but he looks up to his dad. Okay? So know and understand that you're an example to him, and that he will follow you in whatever it is that you're going to do in the future. And he says, just know that I love you too. I love you too. I don't know why, but he's doing this.
It's something he used to do.
They pull out on your cheeks and it hurts, and you're like, oh. Like, oh, you just want to work up because it was hard and pinchy. He feels like a good man, but it feels to me like he also had to endure a lot of stuff, that he just had to go through a lot of stuff, and that's just life, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you have any questions for them?
I guess I would ask if there's any other messages we want to relay to any of our other family members, and just maybe a aspect of how it is, I guess, beyond the veil for them. They'd like to share about their experience would be.
Well, they're saying we're having a blast up here, Oh, wow. Any other messages? Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, we reach out to everybody. We reach out to Russell too, but Russell's kind of like, he's kind of up there in his head. He's too focused on the human thinking. He's too focused on, he's making me feel like there is religion in the family, that people do get to see certain things very kind of in a restrictive way. And so it's almost like you are here to kind of open that up, they say. You're here to kind of say, well, there might be something more than what we can see here. And so it's almost like you and Russell are pretty close. And so don't try to convince him in certain things, but just lead the example by living it. live spirituality, live truth, and practice it. And then they will see that God is real and Jesus is real, and they believe that. But that there's also so much more real than that. It's not just that, what the book says, okay? It's not just that. When it comes to Russell, when it comes to Jessica, they're making me feel like sometimes there's a little bit of friction in that relationship. I don't know what's going on, but they're making me feel like it can get tough, or there's a distance. Let me say it that way. Emotionally, maybe. I don't know if there's a physical distance, but they're showing me Route 66, which is usually my sign for distance. You know, that there's something going on there. And it's all about open communication is what they're saying. Communication is not ideal in that relationship, and there's too many egos involved who are trying to be right. Okay, so learn to listen to each other, open that communication without judgment, and try to see perspectives from different angles, and only then will they be able to kind of, it's almost like recreate a bond in some way or form. Does that make sense at all?
Thank you for that.
When it comes to your dad, oh, there goes your grandmother again. She's so funny. She's showing me the heart. She's a little bit worried about his heart. Okay? So he needs to focus more on eating more vegetables and things like that.
Okay.
I don't know if he's a healthy eater, but it almost feels like he needs to kind of readjust his diet a little bit to keep his body really healthy. They're just showing me pressure, like a pressure on the chest, a pressure in here. So maybe have a checkup done with a doctor or something. Make sure everything's okay in there. But they are showing me that there's a little bit of pressure on the heart that he might not be aware of. And that a change of diet could fix that problem really quickly. But he likes certain foods, is what I'm saying. He's he likes eating, and he likes certain foods. So it's going to be really hard for him to change habits because he is a little bit of a habit animal. But tell him it's for his own good, she says. And get him on that tea too. That'll help to take away information. Get everybody on that tea. Right. Okay, I got two people coming in. One looks like a Native American lady. Wait, didn't I just have you? There's another Matilda coming in. Another Matilda. Are you the same Matilda? No. Okay, sorry. Oh, okay. So this other Matilda, it's kind of funny they have the same name. You have a thing with Matildas.
I must.
I must. You must. This is your great grandmother. Okay, and this is your grandmother's mother, I think, because she's standing next to your grandmother. So I'm assuming those two are connected. And she's just going, hi! I love you! And she's saying, you don't know me, but I love you. She's laughing. She's saying, believe it or not, but she's saying everybody in our family is very tight and very close, despite the fact that we can drive each other crazy. And you know what I'm talking about, she says. You know what I'm talking about. It's been like that for generations. Trust me. Okay, so she says, what you need to understand is any kind of relationship that you choose to go into is there to show you who you can be and who you can't be. Now, when you're having a word with somebody, when you're not getting along on something, stop getting so upset. Because you can get really upset about something, okay? You're really holding on. You're digging in there with your claws. You're holding on to that problem, okay? Because you want to be right. You're not always right. Just cave in. But she says, no. What? She's laughing. She's like, I'm just joking. I'm just joking with you. I'm joking with you. But no, really? No, yeah, I'm just joking. So what I really want you to do is, you can get upset, okay? You give yourself a day to feel that raw human emotion, okay? You want to get disappointed in that person. You want to get upset, get upset. You want to get angry. But one day. Not your entire life. And what I want you to do is the next day, she says, I want you to look at the situation as if you're not a part of it. Because when a person attacks you, or when a person is mean to you, or when a person causes some kind of friction, that is the universe trying to show you something that you haven't learned yet.
I see.
So you need to see people, everybody you chose around you, you told them to push your buttons. You told them to love you. You told them to do all that stuff. And you told them that so you can learn from it. So let's say somebody is talking behind your back, blah, 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 whatever, right? And you find out and you get really mad at it. What you need to understand is in that moment, that person is showing you that you do not have the self-empowerment to feel strong within who you are, that you feel hurt by what other people are lying about you.
I see.
Okay, so you have to try and dissect it, and that's where Archangel Michael will try and help you if you learn to listen. Is he's trying to show you why they are responding that way. You know, what's the lesson behind that? Okay, and it means that if you ever become in such a form that you know who you are, I don't need anybody to tell me, and if they're lying about me, so what? I know who I am. You're not going to hurt me by saying that. That's what you need to learn from that, okay? So every time you get upset, take yourself out of the equation and look at it and go, oh, okay, so why am I responding this way? Where's the insecurity that I have to defend myself? Where's the insecurity that I have to get mad at that person? Where's the insecurity? So each and every one of you who pushes your buttons is actually teaching you something. So find gratitude and acceptance, and if you don't like them, tell them to piss off, but take the lesson, okay? Take the lesson, all right? That's super important, he says. She says, and just know that you're being loved. We love everyone. We want everybody to know that they're being guided and they're being protected. So all that fear and all that worry, man, it's ruining your experience. So just tell everybody to just chillax and go with the flow, okay?
Okay, I'll do that.
So you have a Native American young woman that's stepping forward. So the name that's coming in is Natuki. So it's N-A-T-U-K-I, Natuki.
Wow,
Okay. She's your sister. She's your sister in that lifetime. She's showing me North Dakota is where you guys were located. So in the Badlands, she says. She's saying that you and her were very close. You had a very close relationship. You guys lived to be a good age. You lived to be around between 40 and 50, she says, both of you, which is pretty good back then. She's saying, you know, that was a lifetime for us where everything was about community and grounding, where everything was about being with nature, living with nature, being at peace, and living for each other. There was no ego involved in that lifetime. And so we did have a really good ride on that one, she says. It was a really fun thing. But what made us a little bit different is because in our family, we had a very high spiritual connection. And so your father was what we call like a medicine man or something. And he would get visions and things like that. And you guys had the skill as well. You had the gift as well. And she says, you have that skill as well. But you're a person who's visual. You're a visual thinker. Okay? So she says, when they communicate to you, it will always come through some kind of thought form or visualization or a daydream, or it'll come in your night dream. Okay? So she says, you can still tap into that ability and communicate to us and open that up even more. So you can get better guidance and you can find better direction through that open communication. But she says you have to clear the clutter first, empty your trash can here, empty that out, and then you'll see that the visualizations will come nonstop. Like you'll actually have to ask us to stop because it will be too much. Okay, too much information. A little bit slower, please. So you can get to that point where open communication is possible, but you have to believe in yourself. You have to trust what you receive and validate it, even if you're not sure. Validate it anyway. Acknowledge that the communication is taking place, and then you will see your spiritual awakening blossoming, which will not only help you, but will also help your son to follow through as well. Okay? So she says, know that it's naturally a part of you as a collective soul. You have that ability, so don't be afraid to tap into it again.
Okay.
And she says, do it with a playful attitude. Don't do it, oh, I got to find it, I got to make the connection. No, have fun with it, play with it. Take a picture of a stranger online that has a biography. Don't read the biography, look at the picture, take a piece of pen and a paper, write down everything you feel, see, hear in your head when you look at that picture, and then you can read the biography and see how many things seem to match up. That's a great fun way to have fun with it, to exercise and to see and to train to open up that communication.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And she says, just know that you're loved with many families from many generations all over the planets and other planets. So this is not the only one, because yes, you're obsessed with aliens, and we will really tell you why is because you used to communicate to them in that lifetime.
In the Native American lifetime. Okay.
They would come and visit every now and then. We would see them as gods or as ancestors. That's how they kind of dress themselves up, if you want to look at it from that perspective. But your interest in aliens and your obsession with them a little bit comes from the communication you had back in the day. You know they're there. You can't wait for them to reach out to you and say, hey, want to go grab a beer? And, you can communicate to them still today, but it'll be in mental form. So they won't come to you physically, not until the ban is lifted, she says, because right now they're not allowed to come forward, and those that do are doing illegal things, but they do sometimes try. But know and understand that you can reach out to them, but be aware of who you're inviting in, she says.
Okay.
Okay, so make sure you're only inviting those in that are peaceful. And you can send out that request, only high vibrating beings, please. You can send that out with an intention, and that way you won't attract the ones that will do bad things to you. We don't want that.
Absolutely not.
You don't want that. No. Okay, but know that that's a possibility, and that's where your interest is coming from, because everybody's going, oh God, there he goes again. There's our little Luke Skywalker trying to reach all these aliens. That's where he is.
So true.
Just tell your wife that's where it comes from. So now you have an excuse, she says. It's not me, it's my other lifetime. I'm talking to him somewhere and I feel it. That's what you have to say, she says, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, honey. Well, that's it for today. I'm gonna put it in the scanner and send it to you so you can take a look and keep it as a souvenir or something. I hope you had a great reading. You have a lot of interesting characters stepping forward. I usually have about 2 or 3 people step forward. You've had a lot more than that, so that's great. And I hope that it resonated with that you resonated with what they're saying, so you can take that to heart and put it into action and create a beautiful life for yourself.
Okay. Thank you so much, Emma. It's such a
You're
great
very
experience.
welcome. All right, I'm gonna let you go because I got another person waiting.
All right.
I love you.
Thank you
Mwah.
so much.
Let me know when the baby comes in.
Oh, thank you.
All right, honey. Have a good day.
You
Okay.
too.
Bye.